Hello and welcome to Darrow's Comic School, and today I will hit you with a special episode, and this one is on Jerry Bruckheimer's and Don Simpson's high concept formula, and I got it here, and it's the formula that they use for a bunch of 80s movies. And as you can see here, high concept, Don Simpson formula, 9 steps, the Tom Cruise picture. But we have the Tom Cruise picture also in The Rock, and pretty much in, come on, zoom in. Okay, we have the high concept pretty much in this movie and in this movie, and we have it also in Star Wars. Bear with me, I will break down the points, and I was putting a bunch of comics here so that you have something to look at while I'm talking about it, but we'll come to this in a second. So let's take a quick overview over the high concept formula, which some of the most successful 80s and 90s movies were made. And let's be honest, the past 20 years, movie-wise, I don't know. I don't remember the classics, but I remember a bunch of movies from the 80s and 90s. But yeah, great movies came out, great comics were made. But sometimes when I try to cook or try to bake a cake, it's cool to have a formula. It's cool to have a recipe. And I don't say that this is the end all be all, but bear with me. I watched a couple of movies and it makes total sense. So a couple of days ago, or a week ago or two, there is a guy, and he has a movie channel, and he made a video. I will link it down below or up here or at the end of the video. And the video was called The Movie That Broke the 80s, or the 80s movies. And movies and stories and comics, they have a cycle. Sometimes they have a 10-year life cycle. And so after 10 years, things kind of change. Like music changes, movies change, stories change, but not the structure. So in the 80s, Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, they produced a bunch of movies. And they employed a formula which can be seen also in The Matrix and in Star Wars. And this formula goes the following. And as you can see, come on, zoom in. It is also employed in Zorro, Days of Thunder, Top Gun, Flashdance, and here the lead is a female lead, and so on. So there is, at the beginning of the movie, there's a young and naive kid, could be male or female, doesn't matter, and then it's talented but reckless, or maybe hasn't mastered himself yet. This is like, maybe he's a diamond in the rough, he's a piece of coal, but we can see that this person has a certain finesse, has a certain mastery, has dreams and aspiration. Maybe you got the guy and he's poor and he wants the princess, like in Aladdin. Or maybe you have the girl and she lives, or she's an orphan and she wants to go out with a prince. I know this is pretty cliched, but everybody has a dream. And then there's the Mask of Zorro, and I think Zorro is a Mexican, but the Spanish people are oppressing the Mexican people. And so Zorro is just, or in the Mask of Zorro, Antonio Banderas is just a normal peasant, and he's a thief, and he loses his brother, and so he swears revenge, but he has finesse and mastery, but he's reckless, so he has not mastered himself and the art of whatever you want to say it is. And then he meets Anthony Hopkins, and Anthony Hopkins was the former Zorro, but then he went to prison, and so the Spanish oppressed the Mexican even more. And so this is the Mask of Zorro, so he returns to save the day. I maybe have to rewatch this movie. And then there's Days of Thunder. It's Tom Cruise. He's a race car driver, and there's nothing else that he can do, and he's a reckless kid. But he is great at his craft, and now we will go through his arc, and you will recognize a lot of things. So we have a young and naive kid, talented but reckless. Then number 2, there has to be a mentor. There is one, like this is Baby Yoda, but there is one in Star Wars. We have Luke, and Luke definitely has talent, he has aspiration, he has a dream, and then he meets Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then number 3, there is the superior woman, the soul calling. In Star Wars, it's maybe Princess Leia. In Matrix, it's probably Trinity. In The Rock, like he is our this is funny, like Ed Harris, Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery. So Nicolas Cage has his wife and he wants to get married, but he has to go to The Rock to fight terrorists. So his calling, his superior woman, is the woman that's waiting outside, so he has to survive. And to the superior woman in The Mask of Zorro, it's Catherine Zeta-Jones. It's the daughter of the governor, and she's so beautiful, and just her beauty, but she's also a great woman. Let's say that she's a complete woman. Yes, and so our hero aspires to have her. And I know that desire got shamed the past 20 years, but it's a great desire to want a great woman and to maybe have a family, or for a woman to have a great man and create a family. I know, again, the past 20 years, I'm 38, and we went through a phase where our parents were very traditional. Then we went through a phase, me too, where I wasn't sure, maybe you have to be very, very liberal and all of that. And I have a bunch of friends who are women or girls, and they don't want to have kids. And then you see them turn a certain age, and yeah, like it's not very healthy not to have a family. And sometimes, like I know a bunch of people who had families and then they're divorced. So there's no right and wrong, but that desire to create a family, to create a tribe, to create something sustainable and to give it on to the next generation, that's a very beautiful, beautiful aspiration. And so when Tom Cruise meets Nicole Kidman, he's definitely intrigued by her beauty, but she's a mature woman. She knows what she wants. She says that like all the race drivers are childish people, and so he kind of finds he wants her, but he knows he has to grow as a man. And I can attest or attribute, or I don't know how to say it, but there were many times in my life where I had great things going, and then I met a girl, and she kind of liked what she saw, but at a certain point, maybe I was immature or didn't have my shit completely together, and then she left, or we broke up, or something like that, and that hurt. But it also made me grow, or see like, man, maybe I should have done it differently, or like lately, or what's like lately. But I kind of am at a gym, and there's a girl at the gym, and she's very womanly, but also very fit. And there are a bunch of beautiful girls, but she stands out. And I kind of desire her without really needing her, but like there is a deep desire. Like I like what I see. And that's that. But that desire like makes me want to go to the gym and become a greater self. Like that's like really, but the mentor is like self-explaining in The Rock. It's Sean Connery, and he already was there, and he takes Nicolas Cage under his wing, and Nicolas Cage is a pretty cowardly, but Sean Connery is a full-blown man. And Ed Harris too, but Ed Harris is kind of like those three are maybe equal sides of the coin. Green, experienced, and experienced turned fearful. And so you have the potential, the right outcome, and a bad outcome. But I don't want to shit on Ed Harris because in the end he's just bluffing. He just is so desperate that he's going to willing to go very far, but not all the way. That's why it's a great movie. In the Matrix also, like, we have here Neo, the potential, we have his mentor, we have the bad guy, and again, maybe it's not a coincidence that we have Cypher on the cover. Maybe Cypher had the same potential, but he, you know what I mean? And both want Trinity, or both have a thing for Trinity, but Neo doesn't need her. Neo is on his mission, while Cypher kinda turns bitter and angry and cynical. And so the lesson maybe in this movie or in this story is that you kinda have to be your own person before you can be with other people. As strange as this sounds, but yeah. So let's see. But you're seeing all the elements that you need, and I think I might apply this to my Operation Ubermensch or to Commando Werewolf. Then there's the craft, which the gifted young man must master, and in Zorro, it's like the fighting, the horse riding, but also being a gentleman. In Days of Thunder, it's the car, and because at the beginning of the movie, like Tom Cruise is a great driver, but you have to race, I don't know, 80 laps or 100 laps, and he always blows the tires. And so the guy that takes him under his wing, like Robert Duvall, says, "Okay, you can't wreck my car. You need to ride the car the way I say it." But what's really beautiful is Robert Duvall constructs those cars, and he always talks to those cars like he talks with them like horses. Like he says, "Can you be a good car? Can you bring home my driver safe?" And really beautiful story. Like, it's definitely a guy movie. And so we have the craft, or in Top Gun, it's definitely like going in and going out. Wait a second, here is the concept. So in Top Gun, they have to master the flight and the maneuvers. And for me, the craft I want to have is the craft of honing the artwork. But I'm not just in my image. I'm not just somebody who draws. I'm also a storyteller. I want to tell the story too, because I don't want to be at the mercy of money, or at the mercy of trends, or at the mercy of a bad writer. But not everybody has to be. Like, I'm much slower than if I just would have gone all in on drawings, or if I just would have gone all in on writing. And then again, I'm doing YouTube, like a bunch of things slow me down. But maybe this trifecta, if I can master the drawing, inking, penciling, like creating a comic, the writing of it, if I can get it good enough, and then if I can get it out via YouTube, maybe that can be a thing. But you can see the mastery, or the craft is very important, which the gifted young man must master. So with the mastery of the craft often comes the mastery of the self, because like the craft is like a wild horse, and you cannot ride that wild horse if you're not 100% dialed in. So for me to make this work, like comics, drawing, my life needs to be dialed in. My body, my mind needs to work. My finances need to work. I can't have stress or other things taking my attention or my power away from my calling and what I have to do. Even putting out YouTube videos is a part of it. You know what I mean? So when you dedicate to the craft, whatever would come my way, you have to say no if it's not aligned with your craft. Then number 5, the arena in which the young man is tested. So for the driver, the arena is the race and rivaling against others. For Neo, the arena might be the Matrix or fighting against Neo. For Nicolas Cage, the arena might be The Rock. For the X-Men, the arena might be fighting bad guys. The arena for Golden Boy might be dealing with beautiful women. And the arena for Yoda and for Luke might be, you know what I mean? So there's always something going on. But these are just the testing grounds. Then there is the arcana, the specialized knowledge. And you know that in Star Wars there is the specialized knowledge, the knowledge about the Force, trusting your intuition. In the Matrix, it's also here. It's about knowing the rules of the game and how you can bend them. Here, Sean Connery knows about the poison gas. And so at the beginning of the movie, at the beginning of the story, there's always, while we go through the story, we learn the arcana, the specialized knowledge, the thing that allows us to master it, to master the game. And this, what I'm telling you right now, is also kind of the arcana. I'm telling you knowledge that I know to you, so you may succeed. Then there's the trail, where the masters of the craft test each other. So in the Matrix, it's maybe Neo versus Morpheus. Here it's maybe in Days of Thunder, where they race against each other. Luke gets tested several times. He even fails several times, and he even fails at the end to beat the evil. But the willingness to put himself into the arena and to fight, that is what makes him a man, and what then in the end turns even Darth Vader and to helping his son. So failing is part of succeeding, and being in the arena and being tested is also part of the trail. I failed several times, and you got to come back from that. You got to take it on the chin, stand up again, and still pursue what you want to do. Then there's the proto-enemy, the rival, and a later friend. In Star Wars, maybe, I don't know if Han Solo is the proto-enemy, but it's definitely that Han Solo and Luke are rivaling each other, and then at the end they're like brothers. Here in the Matrix, who is the rival? I don't know who it is, but is there a rival in his team? Well, maybe Cypher, but he becomes his enemy at the end. So in The Rock, it's clear it's there. They both are rivaling each other, but then at the end of the movie, they become like brothers. And the proto-enemy, is kind of like he's your primary sparring partner. It's the one you hate, the one that is your not enemy, but he's your rival. And so that rivalry tests you and pushes you to the limit. But then in the end, like, that guy becomes your friend. And that is the practice for the real enemy. I don't know, somewhere here should be the crisis. I don't know where the crisis is. Maybe I skipped a point. But at the midpoint of the story, before we come to the ending, there should be, maybe I missed a point, there should be a point where there is a definite crisis, like in Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise, at the middle of the movie, has an accident and his car flips over and burns, and he and his rival have gone too far and both suffer injuries. Well, Tom Cruise gets out just with bruises, but his friend gets injured and with bleedings in his head. And so his rival can't drive anymore, and from that point he's scared. From the midpoint he's scared, and we know that he's a gifted kid. We know that he could be the best. He has the mentor, he has the superior woman, he has the craft, he has the arena, the arcana, the trail, the proto-enemy. But now things are real. Our reckless hero recognizes that he's mortal, that everything he ever dreamed of could be gone in a second. And he has this, and Neo also, I don't know which one the scene is, but Neo also has the scene where he could die, where he faces clear defeat. Nicolas Cage has this, and the X-Men have this many times. And also Luke faces this when he loses his hand to his father, and that is his deepest point. He can't fall further, and from that point he can only die or be resurrected. Maybe a bit religious, but beautiful, because it happened in my life, and I didn't know if I could come back from my deepest and furthest and most broken point, where I was physically and mentally and financially broken. And you can come back. And once you've come back, that's an important point. The crisis, and then you're able and ready. You're also humbled, because now you know you can die, and that is the final point you need, because you're not longer a hero that's willing to die on the hill. You're now a warrior that can become later the king. You're not willing to just fight and die. You know how to fight, and you know how to win, and you know also how to lose. And there's the distinction. And then comes the real enemy, the real test, the one that tests all the hero skills. The love, the craft, the arena, and everything will be questioned. And because the hero has now the love for his superior woman, or for the person he or she loves, because he or she now owns the craft, because they have mastered the trial, the arena, and all of these things, they should and maybe must beat now the final enemy. And that is then our final point, and that is the point, the climactic point, in which everything was lost and the hero then prevails, and he rides into the sunset with a beautiful woman or something like this. And I don't want to say that life goes that way, but stories like this. I mean, I was watching Days of Thunder, and the movie had that formula, and from the first minute to the last, I was enjoying the movie. It gripped me, and it stayed with me in my heart. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we see us to the next video. And maybe you can take this formula and check out in the link down below or up here the video to the Days of Thunder, and we see what we can do. If I can apply it to my Commander Werewolf, it would be funny. And we see us to the next video.